Hello everyone, I'm Rebecca Keppel. This month is Pink and Main's birthday month, and so for their March release, it is just jam-packed with stamps, dies, stencils, embossing folders, flock with glitter, and all kinds of fun things to celebrate. Let's flip through these new supplies so you can see all the amazing birthday goodness they have this month. First up is the Party Animal stamps and dies. So you can see this stamp set has a bunch of different animals. There are tons of cute sentiments as well and fun birthday accessories, and everything can be cut out with the coordinating dies. Next up is Yappy Birthday, another cute stamp set with lots of Chihuahuas celebrating birthdays. There's also this Stack of Gifts die, and I'll show you a fun way to use this in today's video. There are the Loopy Borders die, a large loop and a small loop, and then the Fun Balloons dies, 3 different balloons and 3 different strings in that set. The Decorative Candles, one die cuts out plain candles, and then the accessories or the details for those candles can be cut out on top of those, and then the flames are 2 layers to create a layered flame. This is the 6x6 embossing folder. It's called Grid. You know, if you've seen any of my embossing folder videos, I love Pink and Main's embossing folders. This is the Birthday Candles stencil set. It is 4 stencils. So again, you have the details for those candles, then you have the rows and rows and rows of little candles, and then you have 2 stencils for the layered flames again. So these are big enough that you could make slimline cards out of them if you wanted to, or you can just make A2 cards or 5x7 cards, whatever you like to do. So the next thing is the flock. First up is the Sparkling Fuzzy Mittens flock, which is actually flock mixed with glitter, which I have never seen before, and I think it is super cute. And there's a really fun way to adhere the flock that is less of what I would be a little concerned about as being kind of a mess. So there's a really great way to do this. This is the Fuzzy Monster flock, and then last but not least I had the Royal Robe flock. So the way that you can really easily adhere this flock to your cards is to use Pink and Main's 8.5 by 5.5 adhesive sheets. These are double-sided adhesive, so you can die cut them, you can put the flock on the open adhesive and really create some fun cards. Now let's make some cards so you can see these new products in action. For this first card, I'm going to use the stencil set. So I'm going to use the candles first. These are rows and rows of candles, and I put an A2 piece of white cardstock behind the stencil, and I'm using some Thermoweb Pixie tape to hold that cardstock in place behind the stencil. And I do put a little bit of pressure, rub along that tape to really make sure it adheres. The way that the adhesive works is when you put pressure down, it helps it stay in place. I'm also going to put some tape on the front of the stencil to help it stay in place on my glass mat. And now I'm using the Pink and Main mini ergonomic blending brush to put some saltwater taffy distress oxide down on the middle row of those candles. And then I'm using the regular ergonomic brush to put down some distress oxide salvaged patina on the top and bottom rows of the candles. And the thing that I love about the ergonomic blending brush is that you can get either a light coverage or a full coverage very easily and quickly. That handle allows you to have a light touch. Now I'm going to put the decorative stencil down on top of those candles, and I'm going to use some coordinating colors on top. So I'm using Kitsch Flamingo on that saltwater taffy, and then I'm going to use some broken china on the salvaged patina candles so that we have a couple of different colors on this one card. And I love these colors together. The saltwater taffy, especially with the salvaged patina, is one of my favorite new color combinations. So now we have our candles. It's time to put down the flames. So I'm going to put the largest part of the flame down first, and I'm going to use Squeeze Lemonade from Distress Oxide to put down that first layer of the flame. And I've just put them real close to the candles. You could have a little space if you wanted to, totally up to you. I probably should have put the flames down first so that that first row of candles had its flames, but I didn't think of that at the time, but now you know if you want flames at the top, you have to put the flames down first. So I love the way this comes out though. Super easy to create this multicolor background. I did die cut one of the balloon dies out of white cardstock, and I'm going to ink the edge with the salvage patina, and I've stamped it with a sentiment from one of the stamp sets that says, "Let's eat cake." I've also cut a balloon die out of silver glitter cardstock. I'm popping both of these up on some foam tape. The little round balloon I popped up double so that it would really show up in front of that glitter balloon so that you could see the sentiment. And now I'm just going to use some black and white baker's twine to tie a knot around the bottom of the balloon. I love when dies are large enough to do this, but not so large that it takes up the whole card. I was able to put the sentiment on there and have the strings tied around the bottom, which I think is so much fun. It's just a nice touch for your balloons on your cards to have actual strings hanging from them, and just a fun, easy, but super cute birthday card. For this next card, I am going to use the Arteza Ever Blend markers. I've stamped some of the party animal stamps on some Heavy Doodle white cardstock, which is alcohol marker friendly. And I am going to color in these little critters with a bunch of different colors, especially the birthday supplies are going to be lots of bright pinks, blues, oranges, greens, and yellows to make them very bright and fun for birthday cards. And then the critters themselves can be their normal colors or close to their normal colors anyway. So I have the giraffe, the little monkey with the balloons. You can see with the balloons, I did have some fun with blending, and some of the other areas, I really just colored them in. And you can do a mix of both. They are fun to do either way. So now I'm going to cut a piece of the double-sided adhesive sheets, and I'm going to put it inside the 6x6 embossing folder. So I am going to create an embossed adhesive sheet. And yes, it totally does work. See, I'm going to peel off the top protective layer of that embossed adhesive sheet, and then I'm going to put some of the flock right on top. So you can see I'm just scooping some of it out with a spatula and then just placing it in drops and bits down on the open adhesive of the card. This time I just flipped it over because I didn't want it to trail down, and then I decided I did want it to trail down. So the next time I did tap it from the top and let it trail down to the bottom. Now we're using Fuzzy Monster, which is a really fun blue flock, and you can absolutely mix the regular flocks with the sparkle glitter flocks. You can see I have both on here, and I really like the way they look together. And I'm just going to completely cover this card front, which has the open adhesive and it's embossed. I'm going to completely cover it with flock. And then I like to use something like the spatula to almost press the flock into the adhesive. So instead of just letting it all drop away every time I pick it up, I am kind of pressing it into the adhesive. But now you can see the flock, the sparkle glitter flock, and that embossed pattern of the grid all together. There was a little teeny spot at the bottom that I must have missed the adhesive on, but you can also see that even rubbing on this flock is not taking it off. So yes, once it is stuck down to that adhesive sheet, it is pretty much staying. I wouldn't use a nail or something sharp on it, but even rubbing it with my hand quickly and multiple times, it stayed on. And here I am pressing it down and it's still staying on. It does not come off, which is so cool because I thought for sure that it would. I didn't know how it was going to stay. So this is one of the sentiments from the stamp set, from the Party Animal stamp set. You can see I'm popping up the little design, but I'm also putting liquid glue on it. And that is because I don't think my foam adhesive was sticky enough to make sure that the little monkey with the balloons stayed on this card. So that's a really great way to get dimension but also make sure your things stay in place. So if you're feeling like your foam adhesive is not tacky enough for certain jobs, I would just add a little bit of liquid adhesive to that foam adhesive, and then it will stay for sure. The liquid adhesive is super, super strong. And I do have a little dry time to make it straight, that sentiment strip, but once it's straight, just press it down and then it will stay for good. So this was a really fun way to use a couple of colors of flock together with the embossing folder and the adhesive sheets. This time I'm going to die cut the adhesive sheets. So that's another way you can use these with the flock. So I die cut them into balloons. I'm going to peel off the back protective layer and I'm going to lay it down on some white cardstock. So I have the 3 different balloons cut out of the adhesive sheets. I'm going to pull off every backing to those and lay them down on the cardstock. And I'm using the balloons to line them up so I have them on the sides even though they're not stuck down yet. Once they're all stuck down, I'm going to peel off the front protective layers one at a time because I want each of these balloons to be a different color and I don't want to mix my flock and have a mixed jar of flock. I want to keep the sparkle glitter with the pink in its own jar. So I'm just doing the middle balloon first, and you can see again, when I first put it down, I didn't realize it's a good idea to kind of press it into the adhesive a little bit. You don't have to, you'll still get coverage, but I really like the full coverage that you get when you press it down. So now I'm going to peel off the top protective layer of that right hand balloon and put the royal robe on top of that. It's a really kind of deep purple flock. And then I'm just using those peeled off protective layers to press the flock into the adhesive to make sure it stays and to make sure it's a nice thick layer. Again, you can touch these, they feel fuzzy, they don't come away in your hand. Like I said, I wouldn't scratch at it or anything like that, but I was even able to put them in my trimmer and trim down the sides of this panel without even the guide of the trimmer affecting the flock at all. So this adhesive sheets are really, really great. They work really, really well with the flock, and I really love the colors of the flock as well. Another way to use those adhesive sheets is to back the cardstock that you want to cut out of a thin die with that adhesive sheet. I think some of you have seen me do that with different adhesive sheets before. This adhesive sheet is a little thicker, so I wanted to try it here. It works like a charm. So for those balloon strings, I have black cardstock backed with the adhesive sheet. So when I peel the cardstock die cut off of the backing, it's like it's a sticker. So those balloon strings have become stickers. I don't have to worry about putting little bits of liquid adhesive behind them. I really love adhesive sheets for those types of things. I have embossed a white piece of cardstock with that grid pattern, and I'm using it as my background there. I had ink blended over it with just a little bit of salvaged patina to make that pattern stand out and to bring out the blue in the balloon. I also have a sentiment that I cut out of one of the stamp sets that says happy, happy birthday, and I popped that up on some foam adhesive to finish this cute fuzzy card. For the stack of gifts die, I did cut it out of white cardstock, and now I'm using the negative piece, that opening of the outline of the stack of gifts, to trace it onto some white cardstock with a pencil. So it doesn't have to be perfect because we're actually going to cut it out inside the pencil line. So make sure that you go just slightly inside the pencil line because then you won't see it. Now I'm going to ink blend on that with some Distress Oxide Sponge Sugar and the mini ergonomic blending brush from Pink and Main. And again, this is a really easy way to get a nice, even, consistent blend without it being too harsh or getting any really harsh lines. Those blending brushes work really well, especially on larger areas like that. So now I've put a little bit of saltwater taffy down and some abandoned coral. And now all I have to do is put a little bit of liquid adhesive behind the white die cut and layer that on top, and you get that nice ombre effect in the background because we cut out the presents from the back. So last but not least, I'm just going to stamp a little sentiment from one of the stamp sets on an A2 piece of white cardstock and then pop up that present on some foam adhesive. I really love the way these colors came out and just keeps this looking very soft and pretty. For this next card, I am going to use the candles, and I'm going to make a mini slimline card. So I cut the large flames out of yellow, the small flames out of orange, and all of the main candles out of white cardstock. And then I'm going to put the layering dies over 4 of those white candles. And now I am going to ink blend every single candle. So I'm going to have a decorative candle and then a plain candle and then a decorative candle. And I'm going to of course, do a rainbow here. So I have some kitsch flamingo pink. I have wild honey for the orange, squeezed lemonade for the yellow, cracked pistachio for the green. I haven't used this color in a long time, and I really like the way it goes with the other ones that I chose here. Salvaged patina for the blue, and what did I use? I used shaded lilac for the purple. So once that was done, my very last candle is a decorative candle, and I went back to the kitsch flamingo just to color that in. And now I'm going to cut out one of the Loopy Borders dies out of some glitter cardstock just to have a place to put all these candles down on top of. So I use a little liquid glue to adhere that down to about a 6 by 3.5 card. I know mini slimline's really 6 by 3, but I thought I needed a little bit more room so that these candles could have all of their flames, even the taller ones. So basically I am using the Loopy border as a placement guide for my candles. Each candle is going to go in between a loop. I'm using liquid glue to adhere the decorative layer down to the plain layer, and that is creating kind of a colorful with white candle. And these little decorative candles are just so cute, so much fun. You could use just 4 of them together, or like I did here, you could use a whole bunch of them. So just a really easy, fun way to create a colorful birthday card. And the flames are just adhered together on top of each other. I did use the Make-A-Wish blow out the candles sentiment from one of the stamp sets and put that on some foam adhesive so I could pop it up right on top of the candles on the kind of right hand side there, sort of towards the bottom, but almost close to the middle. And I just had so much fun making this card. I really love having a stash of birthday cards to use. For this card, I used the Yappy birthday stamp set and dies. And you can see I had fun coloring these 2 little Chihuahuas in, and with their little bow ties, they're just so cute. I also embossed a piece of white cardstock. I love that grid. I will be using that over and over and over again. It's super versatile. It's a great pattern to use as a background. It's nice and subtle, especially if you use it on white like this, but I think it's just really fun. So I popped up those 2 cute little Chihuahuas on some foam tape that I just cut down to fit behind their heads and bodies and things like that. And I have that embossed panel cut down to about 4 by 5.25, so I could mat it on some kind of coral cardstock in the background there. Super clean and simple other than the coloring, which I had a lot of fun doing. And I added a sentiment that is also popped up on foam tape. And I just love these little guys. I think they're so cute and so much fun. Isn't this such an amazing release? Be sure to check out Instagram, where you'll see a whole bunch of inspiration. Pink and Main is hosting a celebratory hop. Happy birthday to Pink and Main, and thank you so much for letting me join you in this celebration. Don't forget, if you love seeing new products before you buy, like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you can be notified every time I have a new video available. As always, I want to thank you so much for spending time with me today. Please stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you again soon. That was just off the cuff. That was off the cuff, and it is good. Isn't this because we... Blah, blah. Did I say fun like 82,000 times there? You can tell me, it's okay.